shit from the
You're gonna hate me because I come to your town and we beat your team.
You're now tuned in to one of the realest sports podcasts for Kentucky basketball.
3 in the air, good again!
And football.
The Kentucky defense steps up again.
Just an opinionated Kentucky sports fan podcast.
Maybe it's a Kentucky accent.
With Jay Hayes and JD Hall. This is what we do.
Let's go!
Religiously Kentucky.
Big Blue Nation, what is up? I'm your guy Jay Hayes, and he is
the voice of reason, JD Hall.
And we are Religiously Kentucky. Feeling good.
Feeling great.
I'm amped up. You know,
especially with what happened this afternoon.
Right. So I gotta play it. I gotta play the end of the game because I gotta admit, I was really, I think a lot of people were really worried about the Kentucky women's team even making the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go on like a 10-game winning stretch.
10 straight. and not just 10 straight. They've been pretty dominant.
Right.
In a lot of these games. Just
So
look at what they did in the SEC tournament. Yeah.
Shout out. And let me play this. It's just a few seconds of the last few seconds of the championship, SEC championship game.
Dre Edwards, top of the key with the three! South Carolina doesn't have a timeout. 4.2 seconds. South Carolina with a prayer. Big Blue Madness in March. They've waited 40 years. The SEC tournament title to the Kentucky Wildcats.
That's right. Man, I was amped up, and I was back and forth on this game, doing some things around the house, and man, I was so happy for Coach Elzy and these women, man. They continue to fight.
Absolutely. I was at work, and I saw the first quarter score come through 21-18. I was like, okay. 21-18. That's, you're not getting run out of the building. Your fourth game in 4 days, you're not getting run out of the building against the number one team in the country. That's respectable. And then the second quarter comes, and neither team did much in the second quarter.
Right.
Score was 9-3 in the second quarter. So you go into halftime down 9. So it's looking pretty bleak for you as a team right there against the number one team in the country.
Yeah.
To be able to come back from that. And then you go down 15.
Right.
In the third quarter. And you're down 14 in the fourth quarter. And you're down 9 with 4 minutes to go. And South Carolina doesn't score again. How about the defense from Kentucky? That last 4.5 minutes.
Man.
Holding South Carolina scoreless.
And you've said it twice thus far. Number one team.
Number one team in the country. Easily the number one team in the country. Not even close. Number one team in the country. And to do what they did, especially in that last 4 minutes, is huge. It's huge for their confidence. It's huge for the program. It's huge for Coach Elzy and all those girls that are going to be back next year. And what can we say about Dre'Yon Edwards? She deserves all the praise and all the credit she gets. I think she scored the last 7 points for Kentucky in this game. And to come back from the adversity that she had to deal with this year, with the suspensions and the issues that she had with Coach Elzy and all the problems there, and to be such a fiery player on the court, and to be such a huge part of this SEC championship, it goes to show you that if you don't give up on your players, not go easy on them, but if you don't give up on them and you show them love, even if it's tough love, they will do anything for you. They talked about it during the LSU game for what Kim Mulkey did for one of her players. Basically kicked her off the team and said, So, and that player came back and was a huge part of the success that LSU had.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it with Dre'Una Edwards and Kentucky in this tournament. And since she got back into the lineup, I think they're 10-2 since she got back into the lineup, coming back from that last suspension. So to have somebody there to pair with Ryan Howard, because we all know how great that she is, but having that second option is huge. And like when that 3 left her hand, like you knew it was good. Yeah. Like everything was going so right for Kentucky.
I was like, oh shit.
And and before that, Robin Benton hits that 3, that huge 3. I think she cut it from 10 to 7, I think at that time. Treasure Hunt with she didn't score a lot of points, but down the stretch, huge box outs and rebounds, against Aaliyah Boston. Like it was just an amazing effort to just be able to be in that position to win the game, but to also come through and finish it out like that. Right. It's huge.
SEC champions, the Kentucky Wildcats women's team, man. What a game and what a season. They continue to fight, and
and
congratulations to them, man.
They started out the SEC conference play at 2-8. They finished the SEC conference at 8-8, which whatever, but that's 6 straight right there. And then you win 4 straight in the tournament. There were a lot of people calling for Coach Elsie to be fired at that time, during the season.
A few weeks ago, I saw tweets saying she's got to go.
I'm on record in chat groups and stuff saying that, if I'm Mitch Barnhart, you got to sit down and have a conversation with her. She's going to finish the year. And this is at the time before they started this win streak. You got to sit down, you got to have a conversation with her and find out what her plan is going forward to right the ship of the program.
Right.
Because there were games this year they played with 6 players, not just 6 scholarship players.
Yeah.
6 players, 6 healthy players on the bench. And that goes right back to Coach Elsie and what she did in the offseason, not bringing in any transfers. And when you lose players to injury or transfer yourself. But I'm glad to be wrong. I'm glad that they were able to.
It was looking rough
to turn that season around.
Yeah,
with the way that it started.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Congratulations!
Like I said, it's huge. It's not just huge for the players. It's huge for Coach Elsie, her confidence as a coach.
Yep.
Huge for the program going forward. You're not going to have Ryan Howard next year, so you've got to be able to sell your program to recruits and possible transfers or whatever that you want to bring in to fill that void. Yep. And now you've got something to point to say, see, look what happened when we got healthy, when we got everybody back. This is the type of team that we are. This is who we are. Not that team that started 2-8 in conference play, but this team that finished with 10 straight wins. That's more of who we are. And
Fighters.
So that's huge. Yeah, absolutely huge.
Congratulations to them. Like, hey, it's January, February, Kentucky. That's exactly what it is. And I want to get into of course it's postseason now. But I want to get into the last 2 wins of Kentucky men's basketball starting with Ole Miss. Kentucky beating Ole Miss 83-72. What did you see in this game? And let me ask you this. Are there any concerns going into post play?
If you would have asked me that question after that game, I might have said yes, had a few concerns about the defense. But I'm the voice of reason on this show for a reason, because
defense was my concern.
I sit back and I try and have a non-biased view, and I just look at the facts of everything.
I gotta start posting some of the video too when I'm talking about some things, and you see JD nodding his head no.
So we had 5 games in a row where the defense was pretty suspect.
Right.
It wasn't god awful, but it wasn't to the level that we had been seeing this year.
There were some breakdowns that
there were some breakdowns. No. And But all that came on the heels of Ty missing time, getting hurt,
Right.
Severe getting hurt, missing 2 games. Guys being put in positions that they're not normally in.
Right.
When you're talking about Grady and Davion and all the minutes that they were playing, all the minutes Toppin was playing. So, I was at the Ole Miss game with my dad.
Right.
And I think what we've seen in those 2 games at Arkansas, at Ole Miss, with Ty and Severe coming back, you saw it in the second half of the Arkansas game. They played pretty good defense in the second half of that game because you don't come back from that deficit that you had in that game without good defense.
Right.
And what I saw in the Ole Miss game was a team that was still working in a couple of guys that had been missing for a week or so, of games, and getting back comfortable in the roles that they had, but also a team that kind of knew that they were a lot better than Ole Miss and maybe didn't put forth the type of effort needed for the entire game to be that elite defensive team that we've seen from them this year. Because there were times during that game where they would lock down Ole Miss and they would stretch that lead out to 14, 15 points. But then they would just shrink back and settle into defense that wasn't great.
Right.
Straight line drives to the basket, stuff like that, open threes. And I think Ole Miss coming in was like the third best 3-point shooting team in the conference this year. So it is what it is. Like, I wasn't too concerned with that game in and of itself. So it's not. We're going to talk about the next game after that. So I'm trying not to step on that.
I mean, going into postseason with 2 wins, the last 2 games winning is a good thing.
That's all that matters.
But my concern was some of the defense. Some of the things that teams did against us were like, oh, you can't do that when you get in post player. You will not win against some of these better teams.
And some of the comments from Grady and Coach Cal and Davion and these guys before the Florida game acknowledged that. They acknowledged that they'd been struggling on the defensive end because of breakdowns, missed assignments, rotations were slow and help was slow. And, there was just they looked more like a team that was trying to play good enough defense to win a game, but also not put themselves in a position to get hurt.
Right.
Like they were protecting themselves, which I get when you've had injuries to Ty and Severe and people miss these games, you kind of want to be a little more careful with what you're doing.
And watching
so maybe
those
you
games,
don't.
It ran through my head. I call it rest defense.
Right. So like it makes sense that they struggled, but they were pretty great on offense against Ole Miss. So that, I mean, again, that's got to, as a player, you got to, or as a fan watching that game, you got to think that as a player, they're thinking, oh, we're so much better on offense than they are on defense that we can kind of coast on the defensive end because we're going to get whatever we want on the offensive end in this game. So it was great for Grady and Davion to get their senior night in front of that crowd. Davion had senior night last year with nobody there, 3,000 people or whatever they were allowing in the arena.
Right.
So for those 2 guys to experience senior night at Rupp, not at Davidson, not at Creighton, not in a 90% empty arena, but a full crowd at Rupp was awesome. And for Davion to start the game the way that he started, the way he started the game kept Ty on the bench for the first 6 minutes of the game. So I was really happy for those guys to be able to perform well in that game too.
Right. Yeah, I was happy for both Grady and Mintz. Hate to see them go. It's so quickly, it feels like, but then we go into Florida. Were there any concerns about this game? Like, I really wasn't concerned other than like, I felt like Kentucky was like resting on defense and was really kind of not hoping that these issues cleared up this deep in going into postseason. So that was a concern, but I didn't feel like we would lose the game.
You talking about Ole Miss or
going into Florida? Kentucky winning, of course, 71-63, but there was that concern of, I think we would beat them, but the rest, so to speak, defense,
right?
I was really hoping that's what that was, and not, well, we haven't cleared these issues up this deep in.
Right. And what we saw in the Florida game was a team that was locked in defensively. Other than maybe Colin Castleton. He had a pretty good game. But for the most part, everyone else did the things that they needed to do that they hadn't been doing over the last, week and a half or so.
Right.
So to see them come out in the Florida game and run away with it the way that they did, was eased my concerns for the defense. So like I said, after going into the Florida game, if you'd asked me that, I would have had some issues, or might have voiced some concerns. But after the Florida game, a lot of those concerns were answered for me. So I'm not as worried about the defense after that game as I might have been if they had performed the same way against Florida that we had been seeing them the previous 5-6 games.
Right.
So, but to go down to Florida, which is, usually a pretty tough place to play. They'd already beaten Auburn there. Usually. But Kentucky's made it out of there the last 4 times with a win. And
right.
It seemed like, the second half, like Florida's a desperate team at this point.
Right.
And they were playing desperate. You could see that. They were, they had to take their play to another level. And there were times, if you watch that, Kentucky would stretch that lead out to 14 points or whatever it was. Yep. And then Florida would fight back and they'd cut it to 9. And then Kentucky would answer right back and they'd go back to 13. And then they'd cut it down to 8. And then it'd go back out to 12. So there was never really a concern watching that game that they were going to lose, to me. Now, I know some people might have when it got down to 6 with, a minute to go or whatever it was.
Right. A lot of people not really complaining, but voicing their opinion on Kentucky closing out games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the concern.
But again, you're working 2 players back in who haven't been playing a lot lately. So these issues that we're seeing are issues that you would expect when 2 big pieces of your team have missed that much time. But what else can we say? They stretched that lead back out to 10 and that under that minute to go, because Ty struggled from the field in that game, 1 of 6, only scored 2 points. But in the last 100 seconds, minute 40, he had 2 rebounds, hit 4 free throws, and basically sealed the game for him. So we can sit here and debate about Ty and how he's playing and the things that he was doing on the floor in that game, but you can't deny his impact on the game, even when he's not scoring, because he does so many other things well on the floor.
Right.
Defensively, making plays for others with assists, not turning the ball over, hitting those clutch free throws down the stretch where we've seen him in conference play struggle from the free throw line.
Yeah.
You know, but to step up to the line at that point in the game when you have struggled from the field shooting the ball and to calmly knock down 4 straight free throws was huge. And it's got to be huge for his confidence going forward to see the ball go through the hoop and be like, okay, I know I can make these shots. I know I'm the guy that can do this, and go out there and start to do it again, because we know what he's capable of.
Have they heard the Anthony Davis championship game speech yet? You think?
Probably not.
It's coming.
I mean, I mean,
you don't have to score.
Right.
Just play.
Just play. Just do. If you're struggling from the field, scoring, do whatever else you can do to help your team win.
Right.
Because look at that game against Florida. You had Davion and Grady, who came out early, hot. You know, but after that, you didn't get much out of those guys. You didn't get basically anything out of Toppin and Keon. You got almost nothing out of Ty until the last minute. You know, so there was, to see that stuff happen and to see what they were going through offensively with a lot of their core pieces and a lot of their important pieces, and to still be able to win that game by 8 points, win that game pretty comfortably, bodes well for your team going into March.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you can win when 1 or 2 or 3 of your guys are having an issue offensively, because you can do so many other things on the floor defensively to make up for that.
Right.
You know,
January, February, Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kentucky ends the regular season 25-6.
And we didn't even talk about Oscar, because
did you see my prediction for the game?
I didn't.
I said 30-30.
You were a little short on the
calm
rebound
down,
part,
folks.
on the
It's a
rebound side.
prediction. Calm down. It's a prediction. But I always have fun with it in 30-30. And I was like, oh, he's going to get 30 points.
And he almost did. You know, what more can we say about Oscar that hasn't been said? You know, he was 11 for 16. I believe it was 11 of 16 from the field, hit all 5 of his free throws, 15 rebounds, 27 points. I think 3 blocks, 2 steals. Like,
beast mode.
I mean, what up? There's, if there was any question about him being National Player of the Year, the last 2 games against Arkansas and Florida, and I can't remember what he did against Ole Miss. I think it was 18 and 16. I think is what it was, or somewhere close to that. Because let's face it, that's usually what he puts up in a game.
18-15. Yeah,
18 and 15. Okay, so the last 3 games have basically put an end to any argument of who National Player of the Year should be, unless you're Jeff Goodman,
right?
Who keeps it going out there and pushing Johnny Davis.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just the 22 points a game doesn't top all these double doubles, and it just
no, because Oscar does so much more for his team, because Johnny Davis isn't scoring those points as efficiently as Oscar is either, because he might score 19 points on 19 shots. That's not the ratio that you want,
right,
when you're scoring points. You know, if Oscar scores 19 points, he might do it on 12 shots,
right?
You know, or 10.
But I
or
get
whatever.
these guys saying that because you want to make it interesting. You
want
to. You don't want to be like, well, Oscar is definitely, but when you do
But
that, then us Kentucky fans going, no.
Right. And most likely that's what it is. They're looking for clicks on their Twitter, or
that pot,
or for their podcast, or whatever it is that they're doing, or whoever they're writing for. They want clicks for those articles. So I get it. But there's no question that Oscar should be the National Player of the Year.
Right. Yeah.
He's
a beast. And, I mean, he is. I mean, and that's not, of course, we're Kentucky fans, religiously Kentucky, but the numbers speak for itself. Every game,
every game. He's so
yeah.
consistent, and he's
Yeah.
doing things that haven't been done in 50 years.
Yeah.
15 points and 15 rebounds a game. Like that.
Yeah.
That's not something that's done every year.
Yep.
It's a historical season. So that type of season needs to be rewarded when it happens. It doesn't need to get brushed on the table. It doesn't need to be minimized in any kind of way, because this stuff doesn't happen every year.
Right. Right.
What
a turnaround, man. We came out with a hoodie revenge tour, and it's been that from last year. But going into postseason now, SEC tournament coming up this coming Friday. I hope Calipari gets his watch back. That's his lucky watch. So get that back to coach.
There's actually still frames from those videos that people picked out where it shows the woman looking around like, whose watches this? So
if you don't know, Coach Cal was in attendance for the women's SEC championship and cheering. As doing so, he loses his watch, which was, I think he said, a gold Rolex,
a white gold Rolex.
So yeah.
So he's throwing that out there a little bit, flexing a little bit on the Rolex. So
right.
And you see him, like, if you watch the video, you can see that watch go flying back behind him as he throws his arms up, and then he turns to Elle and he's looking down. He's like,
"Yeah."
He says to her, "I lost my watch."
Yeah, and
then he just goes back to cheering the game. So
yeah,
obviously for him, losing that watch wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, I think it is. To tweet about it, saying that's my lucky watch, and I will give you
to see his
reward if you.
But to see his reaction, though, reaction,
yeah,
it was like, whatever. Yeah, I'll get another one.
Yeah,
it was.
And I'm sure Ellen will be trolling the roommate on Instagram.
Absolutely. Not having his watch on tight enough or clasp tight enough or whatever you want to say. She's definitely probably going to give him the business.
But yeah, so now we're going into postseason SEC tournament time. What do you think? Friday, we get a chance to play either Georgia, Vanderbilt, or Alabama.
I don't care.
We're gonna run through it, right?
I honestly don't care. Yeah, like,
I mean, you know where I'm at with it. Like, I don't care about the SEC tournament. Like, I love to watch it, of course, because I'm a fan, and who doesn't want to win? But
it's not that I don't care about the SEC tournament, right? We've won enough of them, though.
Yeah,
but I don't care who we play.
Right.
I really don't care.
I know it's hard. I'm like that in the NCAA tournament.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's got to factor into your mindset a little bit as a fan. But I really don't care who we play. Right. I really don't. And whether it's Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Arkansas, whoever going forward past that, past Friday.
I want all the smoke.
Bring it on. Like, we showed what we can do against Tennessee healthy.
Yeah.
And away from Thompson-Boling Arena.
Yeah.
We had a chance to win at Auburn and at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Not fully healthy.
Not fully
in both those games.
Right.
Because the Arkansas game was the first game back for Ty and Xavier, and it took them a good chunk to get going in that game. But they ended up scoring 22 points in the last 18 minutes combined. So they were pretty important to what we saw at the end of the game there. So, it doesn't matter to me who we got. It doesn't matter to me where we play. It doesn't matter to me what seed we are in the NCAA tournament. Like, I don't care.
I'm the same way, especially with the NCAA tournament. I mean, of course, everybody's like, it's about matchup. Of course, we get that.
It is, yeah.
I don't care. I want, me personally, I want the smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't want of course I want to win, but I don't want to walk through it and be like, and then there's people like, oh well, you had that easy road, and you know what I'm
Right.
saying. So whoever you smack off is like, hey, we won that tournament, you know.
Right.
So
And
I've never been one of those people to be like, oh, I want this easy, I want this cake. We want
so
smoke.
and it's about guard play in the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament.
Yes, it is.
And I will take Kentucky's group of guards and put them up against any group of guards in the country
Right.
because I believe that our guard group is just as good, if not better, than everybody else.
I
So
believe that. I believe that. But that's where we're sitting. I think I said Georgia, Vanderbilt, or Alabama will be our
right,
first game Friday around 8:30, something like that.
yep, and those are the teams that we could play. So
Yeah.
bring them on. Doesn't matter to me who it is.
Yeah.
So-
And then NCAA postseason. It's like I said, January, February, Kentucky. That's where we are. But last week we decided to give some shout outs to
Mhm.
some well-deserving people that podcast, friends from Twitter, people like that. And we didn't do the dumbest shit from Twitter this week.
We got a guest who is here right now. So, joining us from Rave On Sports, you all know him, EJ Florial.
What is up? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing great.
We're doing good. Celebrating the women's SEC championship win.
Man, that was a great game, wasn't it?
Yes.
I didn't get to see it live because I was at work. So when I got home, I was going to YouTube hoping that the condensed game would be there, the 20-minute full highlight of all the plays in the game. But of course it wasn't. So I had to go to ESPN and then fast forward through all the dead spots so I could get it in and get it watched before we started doing this so we could talk about it. So, but it's awesome. It's awesome for that program to do something that hasn't been done in 40 years. Especially with all the adversity they went through throughout the season this year.
Oh, no, most definitely. I was able to watch the game live. I've seen a couple of their games. I've watched a lot of South Carolina because they're always on national TV. Being in Austin, you don't get all the Kentucky games, so it's hard to watch every game. Like when I was in college, I could go to them all.
Right.
But I was screaming. I was yelling when that girl hit the shot. I was going to go to Ryan Howard when they ran that play. It was a great play, and I was in my house yelling. So it was pretty funny.
Right.
And I didn't say this when we were talking about it earlier, but that shot needs to be up there with the Aaron Harrison threes in that run in 2013, 2014 because of the significance to that program, what that shot was. Doing something that hadn't been done in 40 years and against the number one team in the country when you were down 15 in that game. So that shot needs to get the same love and replayed as often as all those Aaron Harrison threes get.
100%. Definitely needs a little screenshot. I mean, I'm biased. I was on the team, so
Right.
I can't put it above that.
Speaking of that, tell us a little bit about your time at Kentucky, especially in postseason.
My time at Kentucky, man, it was a movie. I mean, all of that stuff was unreal, surreal. I took a lot of it for granted. So now that I look at it, I got to do things and live out a life that, most kids, most college athletes dream of. And I got to really have these kind of movie storybook endings to games that, we play video games and that's what we count down in our head and in real time or whatnot and shoot these shots. And I got to witness it up close and personal with, my guys that I've been down with Ryan with about, at that point was at like 7 months, 8 months. So it was, there was some memories I'll never forget. I still remember when he hit the shot against Michigan, and I just, I guess that's when I realized I could do some track because I was the first one on the court. I was so fast on there, and just it was just like a movie. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I think that was such a storybook ending to that season. The way you had that tough loss at South Carolina, and then they're up there at the podium, but like it's not over. The story's not over. We're gonna have a great season, and then you get the tough draws, the 9 seed, against
Maybe the
Wichita
eighth seed.
State, and in the region with Wichita State, you're number one, and
Right.
they're undefeated. Nobody's giving Kentucky a shot, and then I make the drive the day before that game out to St. Louis from my house in Ohio, 8 hours to watch that game, just to be there because I had this feeling that there was going to be a great Cinderella story from Kentucky with all the talent that we had on that team, and then you knock off Wichita State, and then we all know what happened against Louisville, and then Michigan, and then Wisconsin. Like, it all just kept building and building and building, and there are people that say it was a disappointment to lose in the championship game, and I don't see it that way. Anytime you make it that far in a tournament, especially when you had so many naysayers saying that you could not do that you could not get to that point and do the things that you guys did in that season was nothing but a success for me.
Okay.
Yeah, EJ, you're pretty fast. So are you the fastest guy that's been at Kentucky? I mean, because you hear a lot of talk about Fox and John Wall, but EJ's pretty fast.
I mean, those are a bunch of competitors. So if you ask them, they're gonna say something different. I'll say this about, especially with Fox, because we were teammates for a summer before I decided to switch sports. But we would do these runs at the football field, and I don't remember what the distance was. It might have been 100-yard runs, maybe it was 50-yard runs, but I would always win, like, considerably. And Fox would always tell me, he's like, I've never been beaten a race before. Why aren't you running track? Like, this don't make any sense. Like, you are so fast. Like, it's ridiculous. And I just, he couldn't touch me. I mean, with the ball in his hands, he was a mug. He was a mug, but without it, I was killing him. If you ask me, of course, I'm gonna say yes. I'm the fastest to ever come through Kentucky basketball. Probably the fastest that will come through it. For me, track-wise, the best is yet to come. So once these times really start reflecting how fast I am, it's going to be put into perspective. Just those teams I was on, how athletically gifted we were and how talented we were. That you could have somebody of a caliber like this. So, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, we got guys that didn't even play in our team that were in the league, that had stints in the league, that are making big money overseas.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, you're out there training to be an Olympian, correct?
Yeah. So the Olympics just happened. I was first one left off the team last year. So that definitely gave me a little more drive fuel. I was, if you followed my socials, I was posting a lot of the stuff from that 2014 year, actually, about, the story, it's just getting started and we know what we can do. I still remember that quote from Aaron, and that's just really how I felt. Last year being my real first year, dealing with injuries and whatnot in the past from switching. Last year, my first complete season, and being able to get to a point where I could have an opportunity to even be an Olympian was huge. So this year, really just to build on that and definitely turn some heads or just really prove myself right. So this year will be World Championships in Eugene. Really excited because it's in U.S. soil. So a lot of people are going to be able to watch. No time change or anything like that. Right. It's going to be huge. It's just a really big opportunity, man.
And what event do you run?
Honestly, man, I run everything. I run the 1, I run the 2, I run the 4. I run anything that I'm allowed to compete in. Anything my coach tells me to do, I'm ready to go.
Right. What is your favorite event? Do you like? Yeah. I saw 200.
200 for sure.
Yeah. What is like a day of training? What do you do starting your morning to the end of night?
It really depends on the day. So I'll give you, because it's really, my routine fluctuates between 2 days, between Mondays and Fridays, and then Tuesday, Thursdays. Wednesdays is recovery day, so I kind of get to sleep in like an hour later than I usually would. And then Saturday, I got to get up and I got to do a little jog and stretch and whatnot. So I really don't sleep in any days past like 9 or 10 really. But Mondays, I wake up about 8:30, get up, make my breakfast because practice is going to be hard. Mondays and Fridays are intervals, so we running. Get up, make my breakfast, go ahead and massage my feet, massage my legs, do what I have to do to get ready. And I'll go ahead and head to practice. When I'm heading over there, we got a warm up. I warm up 15, 20 minutes earlier than everybody else. So I probably warm up like an hour and a half, just really trying to get ready. And, if you remember me from the team, I'm doing a lot of dancing. I'm doing a lot of rapping. I'm doing a lot of singing. I'm just having fun with it, talking a lot of shit. So I, those parts of me, when I was more free on the basketball team. You know, those haven't changed. You know, go ahead, do practice, go after, get some treatment, make sure I'm hydrating, go eat. That's huge, man. Eating right after. Go home, try to watch anything I can. So usually it's basketball right now. All Kentucky games, always watching them. Started watching more SECs just to see how the matchups are going to go. And some of the big name schools like Purdue, watch a lot of them. Illinois, watch a lot of them. Arizona, watch a lot of them. UCLA, Ohio State a little bit, but not as much. And the list kind of just goes on. Tuesdays are, those are my days. So I got to get up at 4:50. I got 6 a.m. weights, so I got to wake up, eat, take care of my body. Same thing I do before practice. Go there, come back, sleep take an hour or so, 2-hour nap. Get up, eat lunch, have a smoothie, head to practice at 3, and I got to get ready to, but I go 2 hours early again. So get there at 1, get my stretches in, get my pre-work in, do all I got to do, go practice for a couple of hours, come back home and the same stuff. So I really just try to keep myself busy on all of those days. I really just try to make sure that, I'm making the most of every moment of each of those days that I have.
Right. Now I'm rethinking life.
Yeah.
Like
the only thing I can compete with him on is getting up in the morning, because I get up at 3:45 every day for work. So I can feel I feel you when you say you're up at 4:50. I'm up at 3:45 every day working 12-hour shifts, 5 to 5. So I feel that struggle getting up that early.
Yeah, I definitely, even telling you what I do, I mean, that was pretty brief. There's a lot more details that go into it. I just, like I said, I try to make the most of each day. Each day, every moment I have that I can to perfect my craft or be better at what I do, I just try to take advantage of it.
Right.
Yep.
So when you hit the track and you got headphones on, who's playing? Who you listening to?
I don't think y'all gonna know the artist, but I listen to NBA YoungBoy a lot.
Yeah.
Of
course. I'm an
E40
fan. I'm an E40 fan. I grew up.
I couldn't tell you who.
Stuff.
I couldn't tell you a song, but I've seen it. I've seen people tweet about him. So that's how I know the name. But I know E40 back from
I'm a
my
E40
high school
fan.
days.
And I tell you, young guys
old,
like E40, and they're like, who? I'm like,
I'm
what?
from the Bay Area. That's where I grew up. So
so you know E40. Yeah.
Right. E40, Too Short,
Yeah.
Mac Dre, all of those. Those are in the playlist. I listen to some Lil Uzi Vert. Is there who else really plays in my headphones? I mean, obviously Drake. And then some assorted people, Kendrick, J. Cole, just anybody that really gets the music I listen to is what gets me going, gets me riled up, gets me ready for war.
Let me ask you, does your record still hold in California? I think, did you set a record for the 100?
Maybe not for like the state. I know for my area, we have it sectional. I broke a big record. So I'm not sure about state-wise. I mean, I didn't even win at state, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. High school, I didn't go to practice. I just showed up and ran.
Right.
So I relied on straight talent. Maybe a couple.
That's when you know you're a badass. So I just show
man. That's when you think you are until you go to them state meets and you get whooped on.
Yeah.
But that's when you know the genes that you've gotten from your father.
Or my mother. I gotta put her in
but
there.
you've got that great base of talent just inside you waiting to come out. If you just harness it and do the things that you're capable of doing, and you're obviously capable of doing after what you told us about with the Olympic team this year. So how was it? Because your dad was still the track coach at Kentucky when you joined the team, correct? How was it running for him?
It was hard
at Kentucky.
Hard. It was hard. I didn't finish a lot of workouts. I actually ran in. I was on the team for 2 years. The first year I tore my Achilles. That year was gone. And the second year I actually ran in three meets, I think. It was a hard transition. I mean, going from high school where I didn't really work very hard. I just was better than going to Kentucky where, I worked hard, and then, people come in, Devin Bookers and Tyler Ulysses and Trays, Aaron Harrison, Andrews, James Young, Jamal Murray, the list goes on. You kind of just, I kind of just got stuck in my role or what I thought was my place. And I kind of lost that drive. And, coming back with him, I had to relearn basically a whole new sport. And the first years was tough because I was definitely entitled. So once we left Kentucky, man, I started working harder and harder. Last year was probably the best year. This year, it's unbelievable. Just like how locked in you can get, and when you really realize like what you're doing and being a Temple, you see where you can go, you see what you can do. I mean, I'm running times now like I ran indoor, I ran 46:12, and my PR before that was 47:7. So almost a second and a half off of my previous PR is pretty ridiculous.
Who's the toughest? Mom and dad, both Olympians. Who's the toughest on you?
Oh, in what way?
As far as work ethic and training?
Both of them.
Both.
Both of them. I mean,
neither one has like that edge. It's like whoa.
It kind of reminds me of like that good cop, bad cop situation. Even though they both are pretty hard on me, I would say the bad cop way. But he's definitely more direct. He's definitely more, I mean, I see him 5-6 days a week. So he's on the track. He's really tough on me. And he always has been. I just never listened before. But
right.
I think
we can all relate to that.
Right. When you're a kid, you think you know everything, and your parents are just kind of talking shit, and they don't know what they're saying.
Of course.
Right.
And definitely, as I got older and older, and even like with Cal, some of the stuff he would say, I'd be like, "You're full of shit."
Right.
But the more and more I got the age, and the more I've been through, I realized that, man, like a lot of the stuff they've been saying, they were right. A lot of the lessons that they're trying to teach me, they were right. And a lot of the stuff he says about me, he called me before. He said I was lazy, I was entitled, I was, all these things, and I didn't believe him. I thought he was just dad being an ass, and at the time he was 100% right.
Right. Some of those things we don't want to hear.
Right. Yes, that's that one. I'll snap to that because that's the one. We want to hear things. We want to hear it the way that we handle it, or the way that we want to be told. And you need people in your life that hold you accountable and just tell you things how it needs to be said.
Right.
Yeah. And,
so
me and Jay having grown kids and having grown up and gone through that situation where we don't think our parents know what they're talking about and all that stuff. And then we have our kids and we're telling them the same stuff that we were told. And, we're getting the same reactions from them. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And, I'm doing everything I need to do. And so we feel it we felt it on both ends, being the child and now being the parent doing the same thing. So,
yeah.
No, shoot, I feel it too on the other end. I train with a bunch of college kids. A lot of them are a lot younger than me. A lot of them come in freshmen, sophomores. So I feel it because I keep trying to teach them not to make mistakes that I made, not to do what I did, not waste this time, and just pretty much enjoy the process, enjoy what you're doing, and have fun. It's not too much pressure, all that, and they'll never want to listen to me. So I get exactly how y'all feel. But that's how he's on me, and then she's on me in a little bit of a different way. Definitely just trying to keep me from making the same mistakes or falling for these pitfalls that I always do, or these distractions that I always get caught up in, stuff that just isn't important, and just take care of myself. That would be a big one. I like to look out for people, and sometimes I put them before me. And when you do that, both of y'all lived enough life. You let other people, before you miss opportunities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what do you got going on with Rave-On Sports app?
Okay, Rave-On. So they hit me up. Gosh, when did the season start? I mean, I feel like I've been doing so many games with them. I haven't even realized how long I've been with them. It had to be about 4 or 5 months. But basically what I do is I go into a chat room with a bunch of fans. I do the Kentucky games, but I'd love to do any other games that they wanted me to. Probably stick with the Sonic Blockbusters just because those are the games we want to see as Kentucky fans, to see who we might see and what might work out and who we don't want to see in the tournament. But I basically am in a chat room with a bunch of fans, and we're kind of enjoying the game together. They ask me some questions, I'll answer them about the game, about Cal. I mean, my favorite questions are always when we're losing at halftime. What's Cal saying? What's Cal saying? I'm like, y'all don't want to know.
You don't want to know. I'm on Rave-On Sports app, so like I would like a follow.
I didn't even know I could follow people on there.
I just got it. What, a week and a half or so ago?
Yeah,
because they've hit us up a few times to
it's
host
great.
some chats.
It's a great app
to
enjoy the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Before you go, JD, I just want to say, for anyone that might be watching that don't know what it is, it's just an app where you can be with your community. You don't really have to be alone watching the game. You don't have to be too knowledgeable to be with us. You just kind of have fun with some people. You ask your questions. You get to have somebody that firsthand kind of lives this experience. So maybe if you're trying to live vicariously through me, you can go ahead and do that, and I can give you all tidbits information, or just from what I've seen, maybe what I believe they should do or what we need to do in order to get ready for certain situations or scenarios. So I love the app. I think that it's a really intuitive idea. I mean, it reminds me of Peyton and Eli for Monday Night Football.
Right.
And I've asked them. I hope they can get to the point where we can do video chat, and I can be chatting, video wise, and kind of like talk to the chat and have fun with that. But I had no idea I could follow people. So now everyone in that chat, the Kentucky chats, y'all getting to follow back. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've hit us up a couple of times about hosting a chat, but our work schedules just didn't work out for us to be able to do it, or I was already going to be at the game. So, because being a season ticket holder, it's tough. If I'm going to be there, I'm not going to be hosting a chat. So, I hope next year, the games that I can't get to, whether it's because of work or whatever, that we're able to host one of those chats and be able to get to experience everything that you're talking about with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Big Blue Nation, the fastest man ever to put on a Kentucky jersey, EJ Florial, man. We appreciate you taking some time to just join us to chat it up a bit, man. We definitely appreciate you, and we definitely will be tuned in to see you do your thing.
Absolutely.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck to you at the World Championship.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, guys. I actually, before I go, I want to ask y'all a question. What's the team that y'all don't want to see in either the SEC or the NCAA tournament?
We want all the smoke. It don't matter. We want all the smoke.
We don't care.
Like we were talking about that before you come on. It's like I want all the smoke. You have a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, we want this draw in the NCAA tournament," or complain about seeding, and we don't care. Like we're gonna smack whoever's in our way. We're smacking down.
Absolutely. A couple weeks ago, I saw people talking about not wanting to play Purdue, and it's like the way they play defense that it doesn't scare me, because when you play when your defense is that bad and you have to rely on scoring and outscoring everybody, and your bigs aren't mobile and they aren't athletic, like that doesn't scare me. It's a mismatch, yes, size wise, because Edey's just a monster of a dude. But you run him up and down the floor, and he's not going to be able to keep up with Oscar, or Lance, or Damian, or whoever's in there. He's not going to be able to keep up with him. So, I'm not. I don't care who we play. I don't care where we play. I don't care what seed we are, especially after last season. Yeah. I just want to experience March again. I want to experience the SEC tournament. I want to experience the NCAA tournament. So
I'd like to face
bring on anybody.
Losses. I'd like to face our losses again.
Yeah,
I definitely like that attitude from the both of y'all. And I think a lot of us as fans forget too, man, that year that I think that we would have won it all, that 2020 year, we got shut down. I think that was the best year for us to win 9, probably since 38-0. Then the next year, different year, a lot of struggles. Weren't able to even get to the tourney. So I actually like that. I had some teams on my list that I was like, I don't want to see them in the first round. But after hearing y'all, we climb up the chimney. We want all the smoke.
What do you think about this team? Give us a EJ prediction for this year.
I definitely think it's a Final Four team. I think the only way that we really get bounced out early or struggle at all is if we put some size on Oscar. That's not something that he deals with too greatly, and he's such a big part of our team, rebounding, defending, scoring, that I'm not sure if somebody's going to be able to make up all of that. And, every time I thought that, we've had people like Bryce Hopkins step up, got Jacob Toppin step up. Even Damian Collins had a couple early good games. So I've said it before. If anyone's asked me, I think our biggest issue is going to be health. If we can just stay healthy, I don't know who can beat us. But if we're not healthy, I mean, if we don't have Severe, if we don't have Ty, if we don't have Kellen, if we don't have Keon, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. But I think we can match up with anybody. I don't even care about those Twin Towers in Gonzaga, as big as they are and as old as Timmy is, 8-year college player or whatnot. I'm not really worried. I mean,
he's on that Van Wilder college program.
Exactly. But like y'all said, I mean, we run. When we run, we can't be beat. No one can keep up with us. We're in the best shape. We always have that.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, EJ, man. Thanks for sharing some of your time with us, man. And we are definitely looking forward to see you doing big things, man, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to come back on this after, going to Worlds, having that experience, give me a couple championships this year.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
We'll bring you back on after that. Just just to hear you talk about your experiences.
Yes, it'll be fun, man. So yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, man. Let me come in here and talk a little bit.
Yeah,
We
absolutely,
appreciate you,
anytime.
man. Have a great
Yeah.
evening.
Y'all too.
Yeah, thanks, EJ.
EJ Florial, the fastest man to ever put on a Kentucky uniform. And you heard him. He said,
straight from him.
hey,
Straight
you
from his
heard
mouth.
him. And,
Yeah.
and I had Fox beating Wall, but I knew that they couldn't beat. Maybe with a basketball in their hand, maybe with a basketball in their hand, but not a foot race. And you heard him say he dusted Fox.
Yeah, and there haven't been many more players come through the Kentucky program that were as athletic as EJ was.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
super athletic, and two
it's no
super athletic
surprise.
parents, mom and dad both.
It's no
Both
surprise what
Olympians.
he did to Fox out there in their races. So
Oh yeah, dusted. EJ is great, man. I definitely appreciate him coming on. But like I was saying, we gave a bunch of shout outs last episode, and for good reason. Well deserving people to get those shout outs. And we decided to skip the dumbest shit from Twitter this week. Oh no, but not this week.
Oh no.
This week we're back. So you know what time it is. The dumbest shit from Twitter this week. What do you got, JD?
Well, we got a few from our buddy Arizona Terry. So we're going to start there with B at 69 Bryson. I can't stand watching Lance Ware play basketball. He's so awful. God, please let him transfer. It's people like that make these kids transfer.
Right.
That make these kids not want to be here, because Lance knows his role on this team. His role is to be an energy guy off the bench, to be an enforcer, to be physical, and he does that. He does exactly what he needs to do for his role on this team. And if he scores some points, that's great, but that's not what he's in there for. He's in there to rebound and play defense, and he does that as good as he needs to when he comes in there. Because to me, when he comes in outside of the scoring, I don't see a huge drop off between him and Oscar.
Right.
Obviously there is, because Oscar's the best rebounder in the country. But it's not a drop off to a detriment for the team.
Right.
So whenever Lance Ware comes in, I love it, because you know he's going to go out there, he's going to bust his ass, he's going to hustle, he's going to play hard, and he's going to talk some shit while he's out there. So I want as many of those guys on my team as I can get.
Yeah, he's like he brings that enforcer energy. You know,
and you know, we've talked about this before. There's you see him out there on the floor, and sometimes that look on his face, you're like, man, this dude ain't exactly right. Like he ain't. He's got some thoughts going through his mind right now that you don't want to mess with. And I want a player or two like that on my team who's not going to take any shit from the other team.
Right. I'm glad that whoever screenshotted these tweets, because of course they've been deleted.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. So what we got next?
Let's go ahead and get the Arizona Terry tweets out of the way.
Oh, okay.
You know, so we all saw the news today. We all saw the news today of Sky Clark decommitting. You know, we didn't mention that yet, but best of luck to the kid wherever he goes. You know, it was, you know, the ACL injury was hard on him, and it kind of slowed down his progress and progression as a player, because we all were pretty excited about him when he committed, you know, about the type of player he could be. And now you got Cason Wallace, you got Severe Wheeler probably coming back. You know, you got Wagner coming in next year. There wasn't going to be a huge chance for him to get a lot of playing time over the next couple of years. Right. So I could understand, you know, him sitting back and being like, you know what?
Looking in his options.
Yeah, I'm probably going to just dip out and find someplace else where I'm going to fit better. And great. That's best of luck to the kid.
Right.
But we got dumbasses like Daryl Good.
Yeah.
Literally tweeting to Sky Clark on his tweet saying that he is going to be reopening his recruitment saying you didn't want to compete for playing time. Kentucky isn't for everyone. I wish you the best of luck. Like, motherfucker, you're not wishing him the best of luck. You're basically calling him a pussy and saying he's afraid of competition.
Right.
Which, for a kid to come back from an ACL tear as quickly as he did, and not only that, go to Montverde Academy in Florida, one of the best basketball programs in the country.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that kid's scared of the competition and doesn't want to fight for minutes. Like, there's just, it is what it is. You've got a guy coming in Cason Wallace, who's a top 5 player in the country. You're coming off an ACL injury in Sky Clark. You got a senior point guard that's probably going to be back. You got a guy who's been on the bench all year long, getting acclimated to the college game, and Shaden Sharp, plus CJ Frederick coming back next year. Like, there's a log jam in the backcourt for playing time.
Right.
There's not a lot of it there. So as a competitor, yes, you always want to go up against the best. You always want to fight for what is given to you.
Well, I will say this: Daryl Good deleted this tweet.
Did he delete that tweet?
Yeah, it is gone.
But as a competitor or as a player, you also want the best situation for you to where you can thrive, to where you can grow as a player. And if he doesn't feel that's at Kentucky right now, that's fine. There's no hard feelings for me. I know there's probably no hard feelings from you. So
nope.
to go out there and shit on a kid like that because he's reopening his recruitment, it's dumb, it's asinine, and it's counterintuitive to helping your program.
And it took him a little while to figure that out because it has been deleted. Abort mission. Abort mission. Who we got next? Mike Hollingsworth.
Yeah, Mike Hollingsworth.
Ty hasn't done much.
Yeah. What can we say about old Coach Mike? He's been on here before.
Yeah.
And he doesn't back down from his tweets like that. But like, you go back through and read the replies, and there's nothing but like telling him to delete your dumbass. Like,
yeah,
you know, somebody tweeted like Kentucky goes as far as Ty takes them. You can see the fall off when he misses a game. And he said, they've won without him. They won 2 games at home without Ty.
Yeah.
Against flawed teams, against flawed offensive teams, when you're talking about Alabama and LSU. And you could see the drop off with Kentucky and how well they play when Ty is not there. So to say Ty hasn't done much, you obviously haven't watched a whole lot of games or really don't understand the game of basketball, but yet you're coaching basketball and you're saying Ty hasn't done much, because it's not just about scoring.
Yeah.
There's stuff that Ty does that doesn't show up in a box score. You know, fighting through screens, getting in passing lanes to deny a pass to the wing or whatever. You know, he fights if he gets switched off into a bad matchup in the post. He fights that guy and denies a lot of those passes into the post till they can switch back. So that stuff doesn't show up in a box score. And for somebody who claims to be a basketball coach to not understand that is just asinine to me, because I've said it before. I haven't played organized team basketball since I was in 8th grade. But I understand what Ty does for the team. I understand what Ty brings to this team when he's not there. And, you know, if we are only going to go as far as our backcourt takes us.
Yeah.
And Ty is a huge part of that.
Yep. Moving right along, who we got next? Looks like we got
let's go into.
I gotta flip because people send me these DMs of dumb shit.
Right, that's what I was doing.
I'm like, where do I go? There's so much.
You sent me one Thursday. Jared Lynham, Holly Island boy. and he deleted his tweet. So, but the tweet was, the truth is Kentucky fans know that Arkansas is about to have the number 1 recruiting class in America for next year. We beat their 5 stars with a blue-collar bunch of guys that have barely played games together. They don't like it that Arkansas is about to take over the SEC. Hold up there, Jared.
Pump the brakes.
In the last 10 games, Arkansas is 2-8 against Kentucky. The win at Bud Walton was the first game in 3 trips, I believe, that Arkansas had beaten Kentucky at Bud Walton Arena.
Yeah. Jared's feeling
One of your 2 wins was against the worst team Kentucky has had in the last 100 years.
Facts.
Let's not get too carried away about saying Arkansas is about to overtake the SEC. Is Arkansas a good team? Yes, that's obvious. But we've seen this before.
Down here.
We've seen this before. Florida was supposed to be next. Tennessee was supposed to be next. Yeah. Auburn says they're next.
Yeah.
And it's always next because none of them can actually sustain their success and actually fight Kentucky or take over that top spot from Kentucky.
Right.
No matter what recent history, as in like the last game you played, means.
Oh man. Let's see who we got next. Jason. Oh, this guy.
This is an old one. So this came out after the Notre Dame loss.
Yeah.
And he tweeted out, once again, we are already out of contention for a 1 or 2 seed. Cal is done. What was that, Jason?
Done.
Cal is done. He's lost it. He's another one of those guys. And if you see who he replied to, you understand why he said what he said, and you understand why he is the way that he is.
Yeah. Shut up, Jason, and go find Cal's watch.
Right. To give up on a team in the second week of December is, if you haven't watched Kentucky basketball since Cal's been here, is just a ludicrous thing to do. Because we all know Kentucky gets better as the season goes on.
Yeah. Jason, we're done talking about you.
Yeah.
Who we got next? AU Burner.
So this was in reply to somebody about Roy Williams didn't need a farewell tour. Coach K has always been full of himself.
Yeah.
And then, so he's got a couple of tweets. This is Rich coming from a Kentucky fan. Calipari is the biggest narcissist of all the coaches. Narcissists only worry about themselves. If Coach Cal was a narcissist, he wouldn't be worried about the success of his players, right?
Players first, school.
So somebody replied to him, LOL, huh? Bruce Pearl's the biggest narcissist ever. Which I would argue that point as well. Like, to be a coach, you do have to be a big time coach. You've got to have some kind of an ego. You do because you've got to be able to put that personality out there, talk to the cameras, interviews, and that stuff. His reply was, how so? The first thing he says in post-game interviews are compliments towards the other team and coaching staff. He always takes the blame for losses and never blames his players. Calipari never gives the other team credit and never blames himself for losses.
False.
He always gives the other team credit in a loss.
Always.
He always puts blame on himself for saying, I didn't prepare him well enough. I need to prepare him better. Like, even if they didn't go, even if they went over something in practice or walkthroughs that this other team was going to do, which I'm sure most of the time when Cal comes out and says, well, we didn't expect him to do that.
Right.
He expected him to do that. Like, it's just him putting all the pressure on himself to say, we've got to do a better job as coaches to get these kids ready to play. Like, it's
right. I can give a little bit of respect to the people that actually delete their dumb shit.
Yeah.
But the people that actually leave their dumb shit up are the worst.
Right. And anybody who's listened to a Cal post game knows that he's going to say,
he always gives props to the
I got out coached. We got outplayed. Like, he always says that about the other team. We weren't prepared enough, and that's him taking the blame for whatever happened out there on the court. So tell me you've never watched a Kentucky post-game news conference without telling me you've never watched one.
And let's end it with a trophy.
Yes.
End it with a trophy.
So anybody who was on Twitter yesterday for BBN probably saw this tweet. And I guess they played a commercial during the Florida game for Jersey Mike's pretty often with the song This Little Light of Mine. Okay, whatever. Good old boy KSR Nick Roush tweets out, going out of my way to not, and he capitalized not, go to Jersey Mike's on whatever day they're asking. This little light of mine can't stand hearing that ad one more time. Now, fine, whatever. Don't go. Like, if you don't know what it's for, don't go. Whatever. Somebody told him it's to raise money for the Special Olympics. Don't go, but making a point of it seems too much.
Right.
And instead of saying, "Oh, my bad," I see why they were playing it. He doubled down on it and said, "Don't charity shame me. It's an annoying commercial."
What a
like
douchebag.
how shitty of a person do you have to be to shit on the Special Olympics because you don't like a fucking commercial?
Yeah.
You should just delete your Twitter and stop doing any kind of media.
Right.
On your own, because we know KSR's not going to make him come out and apologize for it or anything like that for shitting on the Special Olympics in that way.
Right.
And it's your prerogative if you want to go. Right? But don't be an asshole to try and point out how annoyed you are by the commercial. So you're definitely not going to go now. And you don't care that it's for the Special Olympics, and you think somebody's just trying to charity shame you.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why he gets the dumbest shit from Twitter this week. Trophy. Nick Roush.
Yeah.
Shitty.
It's unbelievable. And he hasn't deleted them. Like, they're still up.
He won't.
And he won't.
So people are just shitty people.
It just goes right in line with the shitty basketball takes that we've been seeing all year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That was the dumbest shit from Twitter this week. What a great episode. The women, Kentucky women's win the SEC championship. EJ Florial, the fastest man to ever put on a Kentucky jersey. What a great conversation with him.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And you could talk to him on the Rave On Sports app.
Yep.
Check that out. Download the app today. Great app. I'm on there as well.
I'm on there.
JD's on there as well. Have fun conversations on that app.
I haven't gotten to use it.
Any game you want to get into.
I haven't gotten to use it yet, but
football, NFL, any sports that you want to get into a chat with someone is on there, man. It's a great app. Check that out.
And hopefully next year you'll be able to chat with us on Rave On. Because like we said, we've been hit up a few times to do some games.
Sucks.
Man, work pisses me off.
It sucks. Working sucks.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to do it. Kentucky now postseason. We find out who we play soon. Could be Georgia, Vanderbilt, or Alabama. We don't care. We want all the smoke. We want all the smoke. Bring them all on.
How about we just start playing Wednesday? We'll just play everybody.
Yeah, Kentucky against all y'all. How about it? But yeah, and that's where we're at. Man, great show. JD, it's that time that we say goodbye.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm your guy, Jay Hayes, and he is
JD Hall.
And we are Religiously Kentucky.
This was another episode of Religiously Kentucky.
It was great. Thanks for the hospitality.
If you liked this episode, make sure to give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes and our opinionated take on the world of Kentucky sports. Religiously Kentucky.